Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. I have a question to you. Ma'am, has your literary journey began? I mean,
Which journey?
literary journey.
Okay, my literary journey. As a student, I used to write. My mother was a school teacher, so she would make it compulsory that I should write an essay, and I would say, no, I will not write. Whenever you go and visit anything, then she would say, if you don't write, then no dinner. So that made me a habit of writing 25 lines a day. Okay. And it became a habit to me. So I started writing about rain, I started writing about blooming flowers, etc. And then I used to write fairly good essays in school. But I stopped writing when, in teenage, I'm sure like any other teenager, you will write something, great, something happens in life or that kind, which doesn't have much meaning now. But I started writing again after my engineering, because engineering, in that period I did not get much time. My first book came when I was 29. It's in Kannada. Kannada is my mother tongue. I wrote because I backpacked to America all alone, thanks to Murthy's funding. So I realized that I can write and that can be a book. So I started writing at the age of 29 seriously, but I started writing in English at the age of 50. Until that, I never wrote in English. I always wrote in Kannada, all my novels. At the age of 50, George, who was the senior editor with Indian Express, he told me, Sudha, why can't you write a column for Indian Express? I said, no, my mother tongue is Kannada. I'm a Kannada medium student. That means up to 10th standard, I've learned physics, chemistry, mathematics, everything in Kannada. So I told, I'm not very confident, how will I write? He said, you are a storyteller, and it is nothing but it's a vehicle. Language is a vehicle, but the story is more important. I said, okay, I will write one and let me see. And I wrote. I gave it to Indian Express. They published immediately. That gave me a lot of confidence. And then I went on writing columns for all the papers. And my first book came in 2002, Wise and Otherwise in English. And now I have 21 books in English. Altogether, I have 32 books. And I have about 220 titles. That means my book has been translated, each book has been translated to 12 to 13 languages, most books. So it is, what I feel is, it's an art which I developed over a period of time, and it requires tremendous reading, because when you read, then you understand different styles of writing. Most importantly, you should be sensitive. If you are sensitive and you observe, then you can write better. People who are not sensitive cannot write, because for them, something happens, it happens, what's there? But for a writer, it happens, what it will be consequence, what it will be the past, what is the flashback, what is the extrapolation, all these things will be there. So if you are sensitive, if you read well, if you practice writing, and you are not in a hurry to publish within within 20, I will publish a book, don't do that. And when somebody suffers, you can understand, and you should feel that, and then only you will be able to write. It is not always you have to write a romantic, happy ending story. That's only in Bollywood. In real life, that is not true. So this is the way I started writing. But the advantage of writing in English, it can reach many people. It can be translated in many languages. My books are in, what is this, Kashmiri, Dogri, Urdu, many languages it's there. So the advantage of writing in English is that. And, when I write in Kannada, I write in a shorthand on a paper. When I write in English, I write on a computer. And I think in English that time. When I write in Kannada, I think in Kannada. This is my way of writing. Over a period of time, you get this idea how to write. Then you see the pictures. In my case, every author has different. I see the, like a film frame I can see, and I only go on describing. At the end, it becomes a story. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. I'm Aditya from the chemistry department. My question is, after your graduation, sir, did the need to achieve financial stability ever inhibit you from taking a risk and establishing Softronics and Infosys?
Yeah, he had a working wife, so that was not a problem.
Oh, no.
No, while I do agree what Sudha said, actually, my ability to be moderate about the financial requirements started much before. we were just 12 students in our graduate studies in electrical engineering with specialization in computer science. At that point of time, there was no computer science degree at IIT Kanpur. And out of the 12, all of us, all the 12 had received 3 jobs paying about 1,600 rupees per month. Telco, Tisco, HMT, Air India, etc., etc. And I was the one who had not yet accepted any of those jobs. All my other 11 colleagues had accepted. Then I got interviewed for a job at IIM Ahmedabad as a chief systems programmer. And IIM was installing India's first time-sharing computer system based on what called HP 2000A system. And that was the third business school in the world after Stanford and Harvard, which was installing a time-sharing system. I was also told that I would have the opportunity to write a simulator for TDC 312 and 316, which was the Electronics Corporation of India Limited computer. And I would also have an opportunity to write a basic interpreter. And finally, I would also have an opportunity to produce an operating system to handle time sharing on TDC 312 and 316. But there was only one catch, and that was the salary was exactly half of the other jobs, 800 rupees per month. So then I sent a telegram to my father, short telegram, and he just wrote back saying, talk to your teacher and do whatever he says. And I went to Professor Rajaraman and I asked him, look, I have these stock choices. One gives me double the salary, but it is in the industry, whereas the other one gives me opportunity to learn a lot, to write an interpreter, to write a simulator, to write an operating system, etc., etc. But Professor Rajaraman said, if I were you, at your age, I was 22, he said, if I were you, I would then take up a job where there is much opportunity for learning. At this age, put learning on the front burner and money on the back burner. Therefore, even at that point of time, I took a job at half the salary, unlike all other 11 colleagues of mine. And I can assure you that I have not regretted that.
I just want to add to that, ever since I know Murthy for the last 45 years, he has never made money as the main criteria at all in life. Whenever we did not have money, even at that time, he had an excellent job, I had a very good job, and we had a daughter who settled in Bombay. And one evening he comes and tells me, I'm quitting my job, I'm starting Infosys. Which normally most people don't like to do because you have everything is settled for you. When you are settled, he made it unsettled. Or when he was when he founded Infosys, actually, he's the founder of Infosys. When he started that, he gave his, his share of Infosys share to his colleagues who were 10, 12 years younger than him, much more, more in a democratic way, which normally a founder will not do because people would like to hold it, whereas he wants to give it. When we went to public, that time he said, okay, let our employees, he may be a driver, he may be a cook, he may be a sweeper or a janitor in our company, but they should also share the wealth, which very few people will think. Money has never played an important role in our life. Probably we have understood together, if you run after money, money runs away from you. You run after a particular cause, which is much more larger than money and much more generous about it, money probably follows you. And you crave for it, Lakshmi runs away. You do not worry about her and do your job with passion and thinking at large for Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya, probably money follows. And you should use that for that purpose. That's the way we look at it life, in a way.
because we are alternating. Please.
Okay.
No, these rules are
Chalo.
rules. We have to respect it.
All are kids after all. Okay.
No, they're all kids, I agree.
Chalo beta. Last.
Morning, I'm Anubha from the Department of Civil Engineering, and I have a
I
question.
met you yesterday, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes.
Yeah.
I have a slightly more social question this time. And I would like to get your views on the fact that in this changing times in our country, where the country is shifting from being a traditional social society per se as part of our culture, more towards the westernized side, and the lifestyle and people's ideas are changing. What would you suggest would be a good way for a woman who's in a career and trying to balance both ways, which is the right way to go?
It depends on individual. I'm not a dharma guru or social pandit.
In general, I would like to get your views on
Ma'am,
that.
please sit down. Please sit down. In my class, when I used to tell students stand up, at the last I said, please sit down. That means I will punish you afterwards. Kind of. When a madam tells me to sit down, it's more dangerous. Okay. We do not know. What is correct, what is wrong is individual, and you can't make a general rule. When you have wealth, people stay together many times not because of love, because of economic conditions, which works out cheaper, which somebody will look after. That is the most of the time. But some people stay together because of affection for each other. So it depends on the families. There are many advantages and disadvantages if you stay in a joint family, and there are many advantages and disadvantages when you have your own unit. What is good for a career woman is left to the woman who wants to pursue her career. In my case, I can tell. In my case, my parents stayed downstairs. I stayed upstairs. So it was a great advantage to me in many ways emotionally. And Mr. Murthy used to travel 230 days, 200 days, 250 days at times in a year. So I wanted a real support, and my support came from my parents and my doctor sister who looked after my children, and also they looked after me so that I can work. So it depends on individual. But I feel nowadays, this is my personal opinion, highly biased, boys should know better household work, actually much more cooking than girls, I feel. The reason, you want a wife who will work with you, who will bring this almost same salary, then don't tell my mother is to cook fantastic things. Your mother was a housewife, she could do all those things. When you expect your wife as your colleague and who works hard with you, how do you expect the moment she comes home, she should be like your mother who will make achar, pickle? There's nothing wrong in that. But being a housewife is a full-time and overtime unpaid job. Okay? And such job you want your wife after she comes back at 8 o'clock in the night. In Bangalore, 6 o'clock is the office hours, 2 hours is traffic jam. So when you reach 8 o'clock, you want suddenly she should become like, or she should go to the kitchen, work and give you hot roti. How it is possible? Unless you cooperate, you take 50% responsibility. It is not possible for a woman to pursue her career. I always say behind every successful woman, there is an understanding man. Please understand.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. My question is that how anyone can handle ego?
Well, this is a highly philosophical question. And ego is aham, right? This is not a question that is limited to one culture, even though by all reckoning, we Indians have the highest ego per unit of achievement. That's a reality. That's a reality. We always, in everything, we say, Mera Bharat Mahan, this is the greatest cricketer in the world, this is the finest scholar. We tend to use too many superlatives. I think the best way to overcome ego is to start giving the credit to the team and try and make the younger members of the team feel an inch taller in your presence. Make them feel that they are the owners of what has been achieved. This requires a lot of effort lot of proactive efforts. And once you start doing it, then that becomes the norm. Everybody will, it's the leader's responsibility to do it. And once the leader starts doing it, everybody else will start doing it. So these are all things that have to be learned hard, practiced hard. And they are not easy to give up, but once you put in a lot of effort, I think it should be possible.
I will handle in a different way. What is to think great about us actually? We are like anyone. I have a brother who is a professor at Caltech and an astrophysicist. So I asked him once, he did 50 papers on nature or something. So I was very proud. I asked him, is it not great? He said, look at this. Look at the universe. There are many Milky Ways. There are many suns. And one of the sun, there are many planets. In one of the planets, there is Earth. In this Earth, there are many countries. In that country, there is a country known as India. In that country, there are many states. In that, Karnataka is one state. In Karnataka, there are many places. And Hubli, I belong to a place known as Hubli. Hubli is one town. In Hubli, there are many houses. We are one of them. What's great about us? You tell me. What is great about you? If you think we have done something fantastic and great, then unnecessarily you feel you get ego. If I'm very beautiful, please remember there's Aishwarya Rai. If I'm very rich, please remember there's the Bill Gates. There are always people above you and below you. You are normal. And given set of circumstances, you have done something nice, it's fine. Much more than that, you should not take credit, because really life is not worthy of fighting for ego. It's not worth it. Your lifespan is small, and do something good, have fun, do legally, ethically right things, and enjoy life. That's enough. Why think I'm the Superman? There is nobody Superman. There is not a superwoman. There is nobody. If I'm writing well, there is always people who are better than me. So you should never think that way. You are ultimate in life. There is nobody is ultimate in life. Life itself is ultimate. Okay? Thank you.
The other day I was coming from London, day before yesterday, and next to me was Kareena Kapoor, who was sitting in her seat. So many people came to her and they said hello. She didn't even bother to react. I was a little bit surprised. Whoever came to me, I stood up. We discussed for a minute or half a minute. That's all what they were expecting.
But she must be a million admirers. She must have been tired.
That is not the issue. That is not the issue. The issue is...
Murthy, a founder and a software person will have maybe 10,000. But film actress will get 1 million. Okay?
No. That is not the issue. The issue is when somebody shows affection, I think you can also show it back in however cryptic manner you can. I think that is very important. Anyway,
it depends.
These are all the ways to reduce your ego, that's all. Anyway.
I'll tell a very funny incident. About 20 years back, maybe 20 I suppose, I was traveling in one of the airlines, and my students, one of them has become an air hostess. She's the chief of that, okay. She said, ma'am, how come you're in economy? I said, I paid for it, okay. She told me, I will upgrade you to business class. I said, without money, I'm always happy. So she upgraded, and there was a lady sitting next to me. I saw her, and being mothers talk more, women talk more, system analysts talk more, and I'm all 3 in 1, okay. So I said, I saw her, and I said, she was reading a book or something. I looked at her and said, I've seen you somewhere. She looked at me and said, no. I said, my memory is fairly good. Are you an employee of Infosys? She said, no. Did we share the same dais? She said, I don't think so. Were you my student 10 years back or something? There's an end to the shamelessness, Because sometimes there's a batch of 160 and all, you won't remember. She said, no, ma'am, I've never met you before. I said, fine, now that means almost don't talk more, okay? So I said, okay, I will. In business class, you get a film magazine, I was going through that. I realized who she was. Then I came to know that she was expecting I would sit next to her and say, oh, you are fantastic, I met you. Ma'am, oh, young lady, it was such an honor to meet you, you're so beautiful, or whatever she was expecting. Whereas I was talking to her, where you my student, where you are you an employee of Infosys and all. So I thought, no, she, not that way. Because I saw her picture, then I realized she was a film actress. So until that I said, no, I've seen her somewhere because I've seen her poster. That's the reason. It is not that, I know, she has to acknowledge me. Seeing her picture in the film magazine, I realized she was a film actress. But she felt very offended, I'm asking her all these silly questions. So it depends on what you think about yourself. You think you're normal, then you don't bother. You think you're something special, then it hurts you a lot more when people don't talk, don't acknowledge you that way.
Now let's go to a girl.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. My question is to you, ma'am. You have been an awardee both as a student and as a teacher. So, out of the two, what is your passion and what is your hobby? What do you enjoy doing more, studying or teaching?
Both, I suppose, because you know I have a teacher. I did Indology diploma when I was 60. Then I have a teacher who, whenever I'm in town, I'm one of those most irregular student. He comes and teaches me Kannada script, 8th century Kannada script, So I do my homework properly, I enjoy it. The day you stop learning, I think you will become old. Then you talk like old people, In my time, it was so good. The moment you say, in my time, I get worried, I'm getting old. Okay? I was in Egypt, I went to the oldest pyramid in Egypt, Memphis there. I took a translator and then I told him, what is written in hieroglyphy, please read and let me know. He told me, it is written that next generation is careless, they spend so much time, they are spendthrift, and we do not know how they will survive, they have less knowledge. I said, it sounds like my father used to talk to me like that and I talk to my So the moment you don't learn, you stop learning, then you talk, mere zamane mein and all those things. So learning makes me young. Teaching makes me vibrant. So I like both.
Ma'am? Ma'am, ma'am here, on the podium. Just to expand on her question, you are also a philanthropist, an author, a teacher. How do you manage so many work choices?
All the work.
All the work with such rigor?
I have a very good team to help me. I have a very understanding husband, the first one. There is so much support at home. Nobody will question me where you will be there 10 days. Like, if there is a like tsunami, 2-3 months I was not there. Then Kerala floods or Orissa funny. So I go at a stretch 10 days, 12 days, I'm not at home. If there's a wedding at home or not at home, I'm really not worried about that. There's a very understanding family, otherwise it's not possible at all. For a woman to make very successful career, it's very important, a very understanding family. For man also it is important, but women require more in our society. Second thing, I have very good staff in the office. I have 8 people and we manage 400 crore projects. I have only 8 people. Then I have an excellent 2 secretaries, who look after all my personal things, which I really don't bother. What sari I should wear also, I don't spend time on that. That will be decided by someone else and they put the sari and I'm supposed to wear it. I don't go to, normally I don't attend any weddings. Not that I'm against weddings, I don't get time. Even my students' weddings, I say how far it is, it's in other part of Bangalore city, I said, best wishes. If it is in Jayanagar, then I go, but I don't spend time in having dinner there, it takes so much time. I calculate everything in terms of time. Time is very precious because God is very intelligent. Whether rich or poor, beautiful or not, whether you are successful or not, everybody gets 24 hours. And you can't while the time, It's very important. So every unit of my measurement is always time. So I manage time in such a way that I will save it. Just like I save probably a Kohinoor diamond that way. I don't waste. I don't attend any parties and I'm a bad hostess. Murthy will take care because somebody comes. After some time, I will have my calls, I will have my work. So normally, other than my work and writing, I don't do much social activity, social get-togethers are very rare for me. I save time as much as possible. And I write early in the morning because that's a time where I don't get calls. And even when I write, I go to office because I have a duty towards the society. So I manage in a very tight schedule over a period.
Hello. No, I think it's a girl's turn.
Here is the
I think, we Indians, we have to learn to be disciplined. This is the biggest problem.
Here is the Kotwal.
I'll tell you, I spend about
Taksa
6-7 months a year outside India. And therefore, I have this constant comparison. And I find that once we have set up a rule, that alternately it will be a girl and a boy, I think we have to follow that.
Okay,
Therefore,
who is that?
please, I hope you will not kindly mistake me. It is just that
Okay,
I want
next.
that rule to be honored. That's all.
Okay, fine.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
You said, ma'am, you're off for 20 days or 2 months and your husband doesn't ask you for that. He doesn't bother. So how do you take it? You said, I have an understanding.
I hope you didn't mean he doesn't bother whether you, whether you are gone.
My husband bothers, actually cares for me. It is not.
How do you differentiate between that he's an understanding husband and he lets me do what I want to do, or he's no more emotionally attached to me?
My God, is it? I know my husband for the last 45 years, 4 years before my marriage, 41 years after marriage. So I know what he is. He's not, he doesn't bother. I never said that. He bothers, that's it, then he makes it compulsory when I'm out. He says, I have to take a security with me because I go to sometimes in an area where it's hard to go. I have to call once a day. I have to carry my water. He takes care of that. But he understands my passion for my work. He says, if there is funny in Bhubaneswar and I'm sitting in Bangalore, then he says, my heart is in Bhubaneswar, my mind is in Bhubaneswar, I'm physically in Bangalore. He says that is not correct. You should allow, that's the way I interpreted his way. He believes every flower should bloom with its own pace, its own wish. Not somebody should control it. And so the same thing, I have done that for him. When Murthy travels 6 months in a year, I understand his busy meetings. It's very important in marriage, you should understand each other than any gifts. Okay, you may not give birthday gift, you don't even remember each other's birthday. Our daughters tell us, ma'am, Amma, it's your wedding anniversary, otherwise Mr. Murthy will not even know. It is not bothering. The care is the passion. The passion, without that you don't survive. Or without that passion, you are not happy. And he allows me, or he supports me in my passion. And it's the greatest, it's the greatest quality I feel. When I go for 2 months, he's really worried about me. Because in case I get jaundice, I go to an area known as Bhavanipatana in Orissa, 14 hours from Bhubaneswar. You have to take a train, then you have to take a jeep, then you have to take a boat, and then you have to walk. And there you have a jumping jaundice there. He's worried about me, that how will I survive, in case something happens to me. But he understands also that without that, I'll be unhappy. And that is the reason. A person who is not emotionally attached will not even bother where you are. But a person who is emotionally attached and who cares for you always is concerned about what you like. And that I feel is most important for all girls. It is not the rich husband. It is not the powerful husband. It is not the position. It is the understanding man you should marry. More than that, otherwise you won't be happy in life.
He wanted to ask it. Yeah, please.
Without mic also you can talk, we can hear it.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Akhlaqur Rahman, and I'm a BTech third year electronics engineering student from Aligarh Muslim University. I have a question. What were the hurdles that you faced while establishing Infosys way back in 1981 from a startup to a big corporation? And what are the key factors that someone nowadays, in this 21st century, should see while starting a startup in order to make it a big corporation?
Well, I think as I told some other group yesterday. First, your idea must have a differentiated business value proposition to the market better than all your competitors. That's most important. Unless you are creating a discontinuity in the marketplace, like Uber or Microsoft, etc., etc. But that's rare. But most of us, when we found a company, we have to ensure that our differentiated business value proposition is better than any competing product. Second, you must bring together a team that has mutually exclusive but collectively exhaustive set of skills, expertise, and experience. Third, the team must have an enduring value system. Fourth, money will automatically follow. Money is not a big deal. Fifth, you have to compare yourself with the world's best in every dimension of your operation at all points of time. At least that should be your aspiration, whether it is in finance, whether it is in human resources, whether it is in infrastructure, technological infrastructure, physical infrastructure, etc., etc. In other words, your aspiration must be to compare yourself with the global best. And that may be that the global best may be so far away from you, but as long as your face is towards that global best, as long as you're moving fast to the extent that you can towards that global best, then you will automatically become better and better and better day by day by day. And that gap will start reducing. I think if you have these things, if you follow some of these principles, then I do believe it becomes a little bit less difficult to reach the top than otherwise. It does not mean that you will 100% reach the top, because there are so many imponderables that happen on the way. But by and large, you are enhancing the probability of success by following some of these principles.